Right now, I am going to compare these two popular floor cleaners. I've got the Shark Hydrovac Messmaster and the Bissell Crosswave Pet Pro. These are two popular floor cleaners used on hard surface floors. You can also use them on area rugs for wet or dry messes. I'm gonna run them through a series of tests and see how they each perform. First is the liquid test. I've got two 12-ounce glasses of water here, one with blue food coloring, one with red food coloring. I'm just gonna pour them on the tile here, and we'll see how each of the floor cleaners pick up the mess here. Well, they both did a good job picking it up. It took about the same amount of time. As far as I can see, everything was picked up here. There is a little bit of blue here in the grout here, and maybe just a little bit that I missed there. But as far as it goes, they both picked it up about the same speed, about the same amount of time. Did very well there on the liquid test. I would have to say, I'm very impressed with both of them, and they seemed about equal. After that 12-ounce liquid spill pickup here, both of the dirty liquid containers here are pretty close to their full line. I think the Bissell Crosswave has a little bit larger capacity, but as far as it goes, a 12-ounce spill, that's the same size as your typical soda can. So 12-ounce spill is gonna be really easy to pick up with these. Now, of course, I do have my supervisor here helping me out. Stormy, our rescue cat, she's gonna help me along the way here. Next is the crumbs test. So for this, I have a 1/4 cup of coffee, 2 1/4 cups of coffee grounds. I'm just going to sprinkle them on the floor here, and this will be the best way that I can simulate dirt, dust, and debris, and crumbs and other things. I went 3 times back and forth with each of them. So here I'm noticing on the Bissell Crosswave side, it did a better job getting into the grout. So I can see here that there's no coffee grounds in the grout here. And then over here on the Shark Hydrovac, all of the grout here in between the tiles does have that coffee grounds where it's getting stuck in the grout there, because there's a difference in height there of the tiles there, so it's not a completely smooth surface. Next up, we've got the cereal test. So let's test it picking up bigger crumbs, bigger items of debris. So here I've got a 1/3 of a cup of cereal here. So after the first pass there, the Shark Hydrovac didn't really pick up the cereal as good, and the the Bissell Hydro and the Bissell Crosswave Pet Pro did a better job picking up the cereal. It was a pretty significant difference. I could actually feel the Crosswave like sucking up the cereal, and the agitator would actually break up the cereal, a lot like a traditional vacuum. And then here we've still got the cereal that was not picked up by the Shark Hydro Steam. It did an okay job, but it is leaving quite a bit behind. Let's go a few more passes and see if we can get that up. There we are, we were able to get that picked up. So it just took 2 or 3 more passes, but then we were able to get up all of that cereal that we did spill. One thing though is that we still have the coffee grounds in the grout here. So let's go over it with the Bissell Crosswave and see if we can just get it up using that. So as you can see here, the Bissell Crosswave, after going over it, it was able to pick up the coffee grounds left in the grout behind that the Shark left. But let me show you why. There's something very different about these two brushes, and let me show you that. I like this little feature here on the Shark. You just push this button and the cover comes off. On the Bissell, you just have to pull this forward and then this cover comes off as well. So let's go ahead and take these brushes out and you can really see the difference now. So the Shark here, this is just really a cylinder. It's pretty much flat, it's fabric. So there's no texture to it. And it's all fabric, you know, it's really soft material, so it's a really soft brush. Here on the Bissell, you actually have kind of a absorbent pad here with the same kind of textured, like mop kind of material here, but then in between here you have these orange bristles, and these are that soft plastic that you see in a pretty much a traditional vacuum. So that actually can get into the grout, and if you saw there, I did have to turn the vacuum a different direction in order to kind of get it out of the grout as well. But that's one thing that you're missing here on the Shark, is that there's really no way to get into something that has any type of texture to it, such as a tile floor that's going to have grout in between it. On this brush, it does have that effect, or it has that bristles there, so it's more like your traditional vacuum, and it allows you to get really into and in between the grout. Now I just want to give you some final thoughts and information here about these two cleaners. So the Shark here, let's take a look at the water reservoir. Let's take a look at the Bissell here. So as you can see, you got a bigger reservoir here with the Bissell Crosswave. Assumably that means that you can do more, and in my experience that is the case. So I can clean a bigger, larger area with the Bissell Crosswave without filling up as much as the Shark Hydrovac. Now functionality, so they work pretty much the same. However, on the Shark Hydrovac, you don't have any control over the water. So it's got an on and it's got a turbo setting. So it's got 2 settings. So on the normal on setting, it's going to automatically dispense water and cleaning solution onto the brush. And then on the turbo setting, it dispenses twice as much water and cleaning solution. But you can't turn it off, so it's always going to be dispensing cleaning solution. On the Bissell, you can control that. So it does have a pull trigger, so you can pick and choose when you want it to be dispensing your water and cleaning solution. When I'm cleaning with it, I typically just have that trigger pulled the entire time, but it is nice to have the control of it when I want to turn it off. If I want to turn it off while I'm cleaning, I notice, hey, it's got a little bit too much water here. I just want to use it as a vacuum now. They both work on area rugs. Honestly, I don't use it for that functionality. I use it for my hardwood and the tile and the laminate in my house and vinyl, and that's it. So I don't really use it on area rugs. I have tested it. I've got videos if you want to see that. So overall, I think the Bissell did a little bit better. Looking back at the tests, I think they both did a fairly good job picking up the liquid. But when it came to the coffee grounds, the Bissell picked it up better, especially in between the grout. The Hydrovac kind of pushed it around and didn't really get it out of the grout in between the tiles. And then the bigger crumbs, you know, cereal, larger spills, the Bissell did a much better job picking that up compared to the Hydrovac. Now, ultimately, it did pick it up, but it did take a couple more passes, which honestly, you know, what's a few more passes? However, you know, that's something to consider. And then I also think with the larger reservoir and the tank, I just prefer the Bissell. Then that is my personal opinion. I use them both. The Shark's a little bit smaller, but as far as kind of size and height, they're very similar. So, you know, looking at them, you saw with your own eyes kind of how they performed. I just prefer the Bissell. It's the go-to one in my house. So hopefully this is helpful. I do have complete tutorials on both of these. So if you want to see them individually, how to use them, how they work, you can check those out next. I will link to them. If you like DIY around the house, feel free to like and subscribe. My name is Drew. I'll see you in the next one. And yes, I am cleaning the table with the disinfectant cleaner after I just had 2 vacuums that were on the nasty floor up onto the table. I'm not an animal.